Hey everyone, it's Bryson from Pillowhead Games here, and welcome to Mega Punchy Golf. Now, if you haven't seen this game before, essentially it's mini golf in VR, except as you can see, the balls are giant, and you physically punch them. Hence the name Mega Punchy Golf. So, I'm going to be showing off where progress on the game is. I've been working on it for a few months now. It's still very early days, very prototype. Lots of programmer art going on, as you can see. But I'm going to show off how the game works, how it plays, and where I'll be taking it in the next few months. So we'll start off by showing off how the punching itself works. So as you can probably see, I am using the Knuckles EV3 controllers, so I am building support for those into the game. Right now, I'm using like the inputs, none of the finger tracking yet. I do need to actually switch from these weird blocks to some actual hands, but I am using some of the input things, such as the force sensors. So when I squeeze the sides, it activates a power meter for the punching. Now on a Rift or a Vive controllers, it'll be using the grip button, so it won't be all that different. So as I said, hold down the side buttons, the punch power meter appears. If I hold down trigger, I can lock that power into place, and then all I have to do is punch, and there it goes. So the way this works is that the charge acts as sort of a multiplier. So what it'll do is it'll take that value that you get from your meter, and then it'll multiply that by the actual punch velocity itself. So I'll show you, it's pretty fully charged. If I just give it like a slight little tap, it'll only move a little bit. However, if I give it like a similar power charge, and I give it a really hard thwack, so there you go. You've got a pretty decent amount of control over where you want the ball to go. Now, as you can see on my hands, I've got a bunch of numbers. Right hand is the amount of shots that I've taken. Left hand is the amount of time you got left for that hole. So I do actually have limits. So I think right now the limit is about 12 shots per hole, and time is about 2 minutes 30. I've got that time limit disabled for this first hole, just so I can actually, talk you through some stuff before I have to go to the next hole. So when I add the online multiplayer side, I will make those numbers customizable, so you could have like a shot limit of, I don't know, 100 if you wanted, and like 12 hours worth of time per hole, if you wanted. But right now, it's just hard-coded right now. So over here, we have a leaderboard as well. It'll show like your scores for every single track in the whole course. Yeah, I'll just show you that. Let me punch this ball quickly. There you go, as you can see, it's updated. Right now, that's just one big leaderboard in the world itself. It will organize players based on who's actually winning, who's got the lowest score. But I do want to actually shrink that down. Make it so it's something I can grab off of my back, or maybe press a button and it appears. But the functionality is there, I just got to shrink it down a bit. So some of the other features that we have include resetting the ball, so I can reset it to the very beginning of the track, or I can reset it to wherever the ball last was before I punched it. Like so. As for movement in this game, right now it's just teleport based. I do want to add in support for other things such as smooth movement or maybe even running on the spot. Right now, as it's just a prototype, it's still just teleport based. Which brings me to another feature that I have, which is if I punch this ball, I can either just teleport over there myself, or I can use another button that I've mapped to the touchpad, which teleports me right to the ball itself. This is based on where you're looking, so it always teleports you to, so that the ball's right in front of you. Say if I look over this way, it's in front of me. If I look over this way, it's in front of me again. Only times that it won't work are if, say, the ball is up against a wall, in which case it'll just teleport me as close as it can. One of the other features that I have is, well, I call it Mega Mode. It essentially gives you a bird's eye view of the track, just so that you know where you're actually going. Now if I hit that, there we go, all of a sudden we're huge. You can see the holes right there. I gotta go through there. And I can see the rest of the world pretty well. Now in this mode, I can still teleport or move around freely. The teleport to ball button option still works. Right now I can actually punch in this mode. However, I am going to disable that because that's just a little bit OP. One of the cool things, which I'm not showing off today, but I'll show off later, is that when you're playing multiplayer, if you go into Mega Mode and somebody else is down on the ground, they'll actually just see like a giant head floating in the sky. as well as the hands. So you could, like, you know, get down low and look at someone, and then down here you'll just look up and see a giant cube in the sky. So I'll show that off when I actually show off the multiplayer features, but it's a thing that exists. It's a lot funnier than I thought it would be, and let's move on and show off something else now. Actually, let's just finish off this hole properly. I've got, what, 9 shots left. Alright, let's see. Okay, threading the needle a little bit here. 11, last shot. Okay, here we go. I mean, it's not that hard of a shot. I should be able to get this. Boop. No, I didn't make it too short, did I? Come on, come on! Ah, no, that close. Alright. You'd think I'd be good at my own game. Alright, so here we are on hole 2. Countdown timer is actually working, so I won't stick on this hole for that long, but I will briefly talk about some of the spectator camera features that I have. So you may have noticed that the spectator camera through which you are viewing the world is kind of smooth and not that hard to look at. So I've done 2 different things. The first thing that I've done is that I've smoothed out the player's head. So it gets rid of a lot of the jitter of having essentially a head-mounted camera. So that does help smooth things out. The second thing that I've done is that I've eliminated all of the roll rotation. So if I move my head from side to side, you'll notice that the camera itself stays stable. It's locked to the horizon. So this way it works like a standard first-person game, like a non-VR first-person game, where you can look left and right, so you can yaw, or you can look up and down, where you can pitch, and you can't roll. You can never roll in a game like that. So I decided I would try that out in VR to see if that makes the video any easier to watch, which I think it actually kind of does. I dabble a little bit in the YouTube side of things, and one of the issues that I've always had is that some people get motion sick watching the videos back. So I'm trying to, like, work on ways that make it easier to watch the game outside of VR. Because I want to make this game as streamer and as content creator friendly as possible. One other thing that I forgot to mention is that I've also increased the field of view. By default, I think most mirror displays capture at about 90 degrees field of view. This I've widened it out to about 110, so you can see a little bit more of what's going on. Again, it reduces jitter a little bit and makes it easier to view. Now, I've sort of run out of time, so I'm not really going to be able to get this hole finished. But that's okay. There's not really much else to show on this hole. Next hole is where all the fun's going to happen. Wherever it is. That one, I think. Okay, this is the last thing I have to show off for today, which is... essentially, this is my playground where I'm testing out track ideas and track pieces. So each of these things is a modular tile piece. I've been working on the size, and I think this is the size that I'm going to go for. This piece that I'm standing on is about 20 meters by 20 meters to put things in perspective. And so I'm going to be creating tracks for this game out of 20 meter by 20 meter pieces. So straights, corners, ramps, all that kind of stuff. Essentially, yeah, totally modular approach, which means that I'll be able to create a custom track editor. Because what is a mini golf game without custom tracks? Custom tracks are pretty much the lifeblood of mini golf games, and I want this game to last as long as possible, be fun to play for quite a long time. So a custom track editor is a pretty high priority for me. Haven't started working on it yet, more so just working on the size of the tiles themselves. So yeah, this is a bit of a playground where I've been playing around with the size of ramps. As you can see, these ramps are pretty tall. Let me just go into mega mode. Like, I think I might be about 60 meters off the ground right now, something crazy like that. Let me go down to the ball. I got about a minute left. I should have put the timer up before I started recording, but oh well. Let's see, I'm also playing around with like how hard you can punch the ball. I believe I've got it strong enough to get it all the way up that hill, and then some. Oh yeah, I'd say that's strong enough. Let's bring that back here. Yeah, so I'll be working on all sorts of track pieces, ramps, corners, loop-de-loops, all kinds of crazy stuff like that, moving obstacles as well. So that's pretty much where I'm taking the game next, is I've got the mechanics done. Most of the multiplayer structure is done. I've just got to work on making some actual tracks now, and just figuring out what's fun and what isn't fun to play with. So that's where I'm at right now with the game. As you can see, there's a lot of cool stuff to come. Aside from the custom tracks, I'll also be working on the online multiplayer side, because I want this thing to be as cross-platform as possible. So if you buy it on Steam, if you buy it on Oculus, I want people to be able to play with each other. If I eventually port to PlayStation VR, I want people to be able to play with PC players as well. So that's the next step: tracks and online multiplayer support. I might start off by using just the Steam networking for testing, because the sooner I can get this like a very early alpha ready, sooner I can get player feedback, the better. So if you want to keep up to date on everything with this game, you can subscribe to the channel here. Also follow me on Twitter. I'll leave a link down below, because I post a lot more smaller but frequent updates on Twitter. Anyway, I hope you like what you see. I hope you're as keen for the game as I am, and I hope I'll see you in the next video.